Oh, Jorobe died? Holy. Let's see. Let's see. Jorobe's dead. Let's see. Here we go. Oh.
So before I get started, I do want to say that this video is not about her specifically. This is
Shut the. We're gonna do more virtue signaling, guys. Are you ready?
about every single person who continues to use the R slur on this app and in their everyday life. Because using the R slur is not a joke. There are so many people in our communities that are either living with a disability or are members of the neurodivergent community that already get treated as less than others. Those same people that I just mentioned are more likely to be abused, more likely to be denied medical care that they need, and more likely to be victims of hate crimes. And when they're turned into caricatures by people making fun of how they look or act by using the R slur as an insult, it only reinforces the idea that they are worth less. And while not using the R slur is not going to solve every inequity that exists for them, it will stop you from contributing to the negative societal opinion of them yourself. So next time, be better.
Jorobe, you're retarded. Listen. I need you to understand something here. Okay? Who cares? This is all of Jorobe's content. I just need you guys to understand. This is all of Jorobe's content, okay? Right? So, I'm going to parallel Jorobe and me, right? So, right? And like, let's be honest, it's all TikTok bullshit, so no, but nothing really matters at the end of the day. But here, so let's reference when I got like a little bit involved in this drama with angry reactions and Joseph, right? This was like a legitimate like an example of like an autistic person not being understood in society very well. So I tried to interject and say, listen, basically my perspective here is that like angry reactions is really not in the wrong, because it's very difficult to understand autistic people, and like that other guy had said before, that people with autism have a very hard time developing relationships as they're growing up. It can lead to like this massive clinginess. And then I brought up the idea that like being high functioning autistic, especially, and having like the awareness, like being basically like self-aware enough to understand that like your autism is why you don't have friends. It leads to like these very complicated mixture of emotions. And that's like this is I would say, maybe I'm being a little giving myself too much credit. This is like a good example of like actually talking about a real issue, right? On the flip side, you have Jorobe going ballistic over the word retard. And it's like, dude, when it comes down to it, this is virtue signaling. It's like, guys, the R slur is so bad, don't use it. It's like, that's no fucking shit, Jorobe. Everybody knows that you shouldn't say the word retard. We understand. It's not a good word. You shouldn't use it. We get it. You're a good guy. But like when it really comes down to it, he doesn't fucking talk about an issue. He just goes on here and it's like, oh, you shouldn't say the R slur. It's like, wow, great. It's like if you want to parallel it, it's like if Jorobe was like, guys, you shouldn't say the N word, versus somebody who's like really trying to fight systemic racism. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is his content. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. It's so boring. It's literally nothing. It's unsubstantial bullshit virtue signaling. Jorobe is a literal fucking child looking for people to give him accolades. Oh my god, Jorobe, you're such a good guy for speaking out against the R slur. Like, who's gonna sit here like and defend it? Like, right, my perspective, if I sit on TikTok, every fucking little virtue signaling piece of shit, like liberal moron, is gonna be like, well, Papa God, this is so insensitive. It's like, this doesn't do anything. This just makes you feel better about yourself. This doesn't help people with disabilities. This doesn't help anything. It's just here to make you feel better, and so you can make a couple of bucks off of a fucking hit video that really doesn't do anything for anyone. It's just nothing. It's just literally nothing. All right, buddy. I don't know why you'd say that in my thing, but anyway, it's nothing. It's just so stupid. It's like, Jesus Christ. I just don't understand. Oh God, he's so boring. So boring. Joe, and like I want to stay away from Jorobe because he's so pathetic, and he's just such a nothing. But oh my God. Jorobe said he was bisexual to detract, like, to just to move on from drama that he roped himself into. Right? Like, what is this? I don't support the LGBT community. Okay. Doesn't mean I'm homophobic. All right. A lot of people take that perspective because there's a lot of toxic gatekeeping within the LGBT community, especially in online spaces.
So typically I'm pretty quick to write off videos like this by saying that I don't care. But given the fact—
No, you're not. This is your whole content base. What are you talking about? How are you gonna like just make such like a fucking obvious lie up? Yeah, usually I stay away from stuff like this. You don't. Like, you literally specifically focus on petty bullshit.
That the country and the world seem to be becoming more—
Me too, right?
more regressive on LGBTQ plus rights, it's time now to start caring about the fact that people are feeling emboldened to say that they don't support the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, you want to know like what the new age like reason, like realistically speaking, the biggest reason why younger people are turning away from the LGBT community is because of like the toxic TikTok online space gatekeeping bullshit, as well as like this insistence of pushing, you know, like these new like unexplained gender norms. Like, not trans people. Trans people make perfect sense. I can even get on board with gender fluidity, but just like simply not even like having a conversation and trying to explain the difference between genders and different pronouns, the gatekeeping, the constant spewing of hate, the canceling of people who slightly disagree with them. Like, there's an issue with basically the Jorobes of TikTok, making LGBT people look bad. You make LGBT people look bad, Jorobe. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example. There's a young gay man. Okay, his name was Alaskan Boy, and he had like a controversy. He basically said that the religion of Islam was killing gay people, right? And it is, in the same way, probably harsher than how Christianity kills gay people, right? The rhetoric in the books, in these texts for the religions are based upon, are anti-LGBT, and the countries that are religiously focused are also generally anti-LGBT. The only LGBTQ, the only reason that like America is more accepting of gay people as opposed to like Pakistan is because it's just like Western culture is just like, I would just say, better, right? So we're slowly more accepting, but religion inherent is just hateful towards gay people. Right. And even if you're like, well, the book is supposed to be nice, it's the people who weaponize. It's like, okay, well, if the majority of Middle Eastern countries that use the religion of Islam as the foundation of their government don't like gay people and think that they should be mutilated and killed and it should be illegal to be gay, yeah, the religion's killing people. And that full context was provided by Alaskan Boy. He even brought up the fact that there are gay people in those countries that are like, thank you. And Jorobe still proceeded to cancel them. Because this isn't a man that's looking to have an honest conversation about world issues or cover. Like, he's just a little like a little kid. He's a loser. He's a loser who doesn't actually give a shit about anything outside of his sphere. He's happy to get praise because like Muslims in America are a marginalized group, and so like instead of contextualizing that, Jorobe's just like, well, they're marginalized, so it's you're being mean. It's like, do you know that there's a world outside of the United States, you dumb motherfucker? Honestly. And like, here we are. So like, yeah, people like you, Jorobe, are why online representatives of LGBTQ are like those fringe groups, like those people who just spew hatred. They're in every group, but that's why people like it, like LGBT less. That's what it is, man. It's not the whole group in general. It's shitty people like you. And it's also, people get like a little turned off when you go to a gay pride parade and it's like completely hypersexual, right? Like, if you've ever been to a gay pride parade, and I haven't, but my girlfriend, she would go every year. She would go for like the marches that were like historical, like heroes of the LGBTQ community who like stood up for themselves and they survived through like the periods of oppression. But like the pride parades have become, especially in New York, have become so like they're not even about that anymore. They're about going there and like hypersexualizing yourself and smoking weed and drinking. And like, this is a firsthand thing from, well, not for me, but like I said. And it's like, shit's shifting. People are people are taking like really taking away like the actual meaning of like LGBTQ marches and parades and the meaning of it, and they're really just like boiling it down to like another, you know, capitalist fucking system for people to make money. It's just silly. So that's why people are like, oh, I don't like LGBTQ anymore. They're like, I like gay people, I just don't like the LGBTQ community. And that's why.
And oftentimes people try to qualify those statements by saying that they love everyone, just like the girl did in the caption of that video. So here's the question. How can you say that you love us, but still advocate for policies and vote for politicians who would seek to strip our rights?
When did she say she was a conservative that votes for policies like that? Did she, like, I don't understand. Like, you just decided that she was, like, you decided that she was a conservative? I don't understand.
Rights away. How can you claim to love us, but also reject the fact that being LGBTQ+ is an immutable trait core to each and every one of
all of a sudden he's bi, so he like he's like, I'm bi, so I'm a victim. Shut the fuck up.
Our beings. How can you say you love us when the things that you
How can you say that you love us?
advocate for make our life worse?
What is she advocating for?
And that's why it's homophobia, because
what is she advocating
anything less
for?
than support is an affront to us as people.
What is she advocating for? Let's see. We're gonna read. Let's see. I'm gonna get a bunch of hate from this. I don't support LGBTQ community, but just because I don't support them doesn't mean I'm homophobic. Yo, right here. Hey, I'm really in support of things that take away rights from gay people. That's where it said it. I didn't read that. The invisible ink it was in. God, shut the fuck up, Jorobe. Fuck up. Or virtue signaling. Really all this is.
This is your trigger warning. This video will discuss body dysmorphia and eating disorders, so scroll away now if you need to. So the video goes a little bit longer than that, but the gist of it
really? I would imagine that was when it stopped.
Is that she's telling her mom that she's not hungry because she wants to look like some of the influencers on this app.
Yep.
And I know there are a lot of young people that follow me, so I thought it was really important for me to talk about this issue.
Okay.
And the first thing I want to say is that you're not alone. Because of things like magazines, movies, social media, many of us have a very skewed perception of what we should or need to look like. And that skewed perception spans across all ages and all gender identities. And I know sometimes it's really hard to believe it, but you are perfect the way you are. I know sometimes it can be really easy to compare yourself to others, but the best person you can...
It's fine. I don't really give a shit about that one. I want to say thank you so much, guys, to all my Patreons, and a special shout out to my Papa XL Patreons. Without all you guys, I would just be some fat dude screaming into a microphone. So thank you so much, guys. Mwah. I love you all. I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.